All right, everybody, welcome into our Fox 35 Weather Plus. We are going to be talking about Melissa. We're going to be talking about our next cold front that's going to be moving through. But of course, we are going to start today with our question of the day, as well as a photo challenge that we are running for the start of October. I'm really excited for our question of the day. I asked a couple people in the newsroom about this question because when I woke up this morning, I met my sister for breakfast. She goes up to UNF in Jacksonville, and she's up there for grad school. And we met for breakfast this morning. And I have to admit, this morning it was a little chilly, and I was in jeans and a t-shirt, and I needed to throw on a windbreaker because it was just starting to get a little bit early, that morning light. So question of the day, very fittingly, is going to be, what temperature do you start to feel a little on the chilly side? So here is the question of the day today. We'll pop up our 2-box so I can talk to you, as well as you can take a look at the question of the day today. But I'm really excited. I want to know everyone's opinion on this one. So here's what we're looking at. Question of the day today: at what temperature do you start to feel a little on the chilly side? So that is what we're talking about today. Write your comments in the comment section. Write your answer into the comment section, and we will show them on stream a little bit later on in the show. So that's what our question of the day is today. At what temperature do you think it might be a little bit time to now throw on a sweatshirt? Give me a temperature range, whether you think it's like low 60s specifically, anywhere within the 60s. I asked a couple of people here at the station who have been living here for over 20 years, and they said anything below 70 is chilly to them. So I would love to know your opinion. We'll pop this up a little bit later on in the show, but at what temperature do you start to feel a little bit of that fall chill in the air? Write your answer in the comments below. And of course, it is Halloween. The countdown is definitely on. We are 8 days out from Halloween, and through October, there's a lot of trunk or treats. There's a lot of Halloween parties through schools, neighborhoods getting together now. So a little bit of a photo challenge for everyone as we wrap up the month of October, and as Halloween is getting a little bit closer, we want to see your Halloween costume. So for a little bit of inspiration, here is my Halloween costumes through the years, as well as Honey's Halloween costumes as well. We want to see you dressed up. We want to see your kids dressed up. We want to see your pets dressed up if they are, or if you're getting friends and family together to do a group costume, we would love to see them as well. So if you do have any fun Halloween costumes that you're putting on this year, your kids are putting on this year, we would love to see them. We've gotten a couple of submissions already, and we'll take a look at them coming up in the first week of November, and we'll choose our favorites. Get bragging rights. Can't think of anything better than that. But if you do have a fun Halloween costume that you would like to share with us in the Fox 35 family, you can send your photos to fox35stormteam@fox.com or laurel.blanchard@fox.com, but keep an eye on your email. So after you do send us in a photo, we will be asking just for a quick consent form from you. We'll send an image, and you'll have to answer those questions on the image just to make sure we have your full consent in order to post it on our streaming shows, on our social media, you name it. So that's what we're going to be looking out for our photo challenge as we wrap up the month of October. So definitely send in those photos if you have them. All right, let's get to our forecast. So it is beautiful outside. It is such a nice day out there, but of course we are tracking the tropics. We'll take a look at our local forecast in a little bit, but 2 p.m. update on Melissa. So we are keeping an eye on the 2 p.m. update. 45-mile-per-hour wind. So this is barely holding on to tropical storm strength. And this time yesterday, it was quite literally looking like a half circle. So what we were seeing with that is this side of the storm was fully intact, but the center was all the way over on the left side. And we're still trying to see that, but the storm is starting to organize. So as we do kind of play this forward, we can kind of see in the loop that we're starting to see some organization here. The storm is kind of starting to round out here, but the main reason why is because we were seeing a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere this time yesterday. And you can kind of still see it here if I back out just a little bit. And also some of the storms that are starting to pick up just off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. We can see areas, especially here, those storms kind of dying because we have a jet stream dipping down, and that's why we see also all these storms up here kind of shifting off back to the east. And this is why we're going to be seeing the possibility of this storm kind of holding barely together as it kind of intervenes with this wind shear that we have going on. So that's why we can kind of see this lopsided storm, and it's not this fully round tropical storm like we're used to seeing, but it's kind of almost cut in half. And as we head through this week and the weekend, it's going to really intensify because there's really warm water in the southern Caribbean right now. It's in a little bit of that higher wind shear right now, but that wind shear is slowly going to start to fade as we head through the next couple of days. And those are just two ingredients for disaster. We are going to be seeing Melissa turn into a monster storm. And really, because the main reason why is there has been no activity in the southern Caribbean this year so far. So with that, there's really warm water, and if the water conditions and the atmospheric conditions just line up, yeah, there is going to be a storm if a wave kind of makes it in that way, and that's exactly what we're seeing out there right now. So Tropical Storm Melissa, we are actively tracking 45 mile per hour, and this storm is just going to stall for the next couple of days. It's moving north-northwest at 2 miles per hour. I bet y'all can walk faster than that, but that's what we're going to continue to see is once the system kind of gains that organization and makes its way up towards Jamaica, that's why we're going to be seeing that slow organization, and then kind of once the spark picks up and the storm is really picking up off of the warm ocean water, the low shear, that's where we're really going to see the storm organize very quickly. So we're going to take a look at that in a little bit. Here's the latest cone though, and then once we come back from our next break, we'll take a look at the spaghetti models. But here is the cone. 2 p.m. update, 45 mile per hour winds. It's going to hold that tropical storm strength for at least another 2 days before once we head into Sunday morning, Saturday night, then it's kind of open season from there. We're going to be seeing Category 1 storm, so officially Hurricane Melissa, most likely on Sunday, and then from there, again, it's open season with the open water. So we can see from Category 1 to Category 4 within a matter of about 48 hours. So Aaron, what we saw with that was such a quick intensification. It went from a Category 1 to a Category 5 in just over about 24 hours. This is going to be another quick intensifying storm. So something that we're really going to be looking at as we take a look at the next couple of days. So watching this storm very carefully, because then even still, if I close in a little bit, the center line of the cone of uncertainty kind of comes up and then shifts over. So from there, it is barely, right now, the current center path is barely just south of Jamaica. So Jamaica quite literally is in the firing line, and something that we're going to be watching very, very closely over the next couple of days. I'm taking a look outside right now. It is beautiful out there. A little bit on the breezy side, but crystal clear skies. We're going to be holding those beautiful sunny skies at least through the rest of the work week and through the start of the weekend. It was a little bit chilly this morning. We had that cold front roll through yesterday, kind of ushering in that cooler air, and it's going to be another chilly one as we head through the overnight tonight and taking a look at tomorrow. 52 degrees on tap for tonight up in Gainesville. Orlando looking at the low 60s, along the coastline throughout the 60s. So it is slowly going to start to feel a little bit more like fall here in Central Florida, and that goes for tomorrow as well. Live radar is crystal clear, and it's going to continue to stay that way pretty much through the rest of the week before we see another cold front roll through probably around Sunday, where we could be seeing some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms back in action on Monday. But overall, temperatures slowly going to start to cool down ever so slightly as we head through the next couple of days. So that's kind of your big overview of what we're going to be talking today. We're going to take a quick break in just a minute, and we're going to go into a little bit of a deeper dive of Melissa. Are we going to be feeling any threats from Melissa here in Florida, as well as kind of take a little bit of a deeper dive into our local forecast. But again, if you missed this at the top of the show, we would love you to interact with our question of the day today and get involved with that. So at what temperature do you start to feel chilly? And I have to say, I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I lived in Johnson City 2 years before I moved here, and I thought I was okay with the cold, but I have to say, the feeling a little bit chilly when it was 60 degrees this morning made me feel a little weak, so I want to know what your opinion is. We're seeing a couple of people writing in from Orlando on our Facebook page, so get in on the action. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We'll be back in about 2 minutes on Fox Local, Facebook, and YouTube. Join in, let us know what you think, and we will be back in just a few to talk a little bit more and track Melissa, taking a look at the current tracks of what we can see with that storm so far. Stick with us. Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into Melissa, but I did want to start off. We're seeing a couple people watching from far and wide in the comments today. Seeing somebody watching from Wisconsin, El Jefe writing in from Wisconsin today. Awesome Austin on YouTube writing in from Michigan. Elizabeth writing in from Titusville. Lisa, she lived in Utah for 6 years. We'll get back to that in a second. And also, switching over to our Facebook page, we have Mien writing in from Orlando. So thanks everyone for watching today. And again, if you missed our question of the day today, it is, when do you start to feel a little bit of that fall chill in the air? Give me a temperature range, is when you start to feel a little bit on the chilly side. All right, let's dig in a little bit deeper into Melissa. Let's do a full breakdown, kind of where this storm is tracking and what else we can kind of tell with what we're seeing with the current state of the storm. So here's the latest. 2 p.m. update, National Hurricane Center, 45-mile-per-hour winds. If we play the loop, we can kind of see the storm really starting to organize. And even though the center is up here, north of where we're seeing all of this intensification, this is kind of that eye wall building. We're starting to see that circulation kind of happening. But something that we were seeing yesterday is that this storm is kind of overcoming some wind shear. So that's why it's not really the center, it's the dead center of the storm. We're seeing that center really starting to form over here, and it's just starting to tap into that very warm ocean water, an area with very low wind shear. So from there, and over the next couple of days, this storm is going to be taking off. So here is the current cone. What we're seeing right here is this storm barely squeaking to the south of Jamaica. So this is going to be a lot can change over the next couple of days. So this is just the current track. But right now, it doesn't look like there's going to be a direct landfall to Jamaica. But again, things can change over the next couple of days. And currently with the pattern, there is the possibility where it could lift north. So that's something that we're going to be watching very carefully. But something that we are really focusing in on is that it's going to hold this tropical storm strength as it really starts to get a lot more organized. So this is what we're seeing now. By Saturday, still a tropical storm. So this is over 72 hours from, or about 72 hours from now. And then taking a look, Sunday morning is when we could be expecting Hurricane Melissa. And from there, it quite literally goes 0 to 100. So it is Category 1 storm to a Category 4 storm by the time we hit the end of the week. And again, it's going to hold that Category 4 strength as it kind of rips through the Caribbean. So we're going to continue to monitor that, especially as we take a look into next week, which is Tuesday, because from there, it could even swing up through Cuba, the Bahamas. So heads up if you do have a cruise coming up, probably not next week, or probably middle and end of next week. If you are planning a cruise, definitely watch this forecast carefully, especially I know I have family right now in the Dominican Republic, and they're headed over to Puerto Rico currently on a cruise. So that's something that they're going to definitely be watching as they are making their way home back to Miami. So current warnings that are out there right now. Hurricane watch is in effect for southern Haiti and Jamaica, and from there we're also seeing those storm surge impacts as well. So that's why those areas, especially the borders, are in blue right now. But hurricane watch is already in effect for Jamaica and southern Haiti. So where is this storm going? That is the biggest question right there. Models are starting to get it together a little bit, but there's still a good amount of questions. We'll talk about why when we really start to more focus in on why these storms are kind of shifting a little bit. But because the storm is quite literally going 0 to 100, there is the possibility where it could almost spiral out and still make its way up towards the Dominican Republic. That's a possibility. It's not looking super likely, but most of the models are kind of bringing it towards Jamaica and then back up through Cuba and the Bahamas. So something that we're going to very much watch closely, because how this storm intensifies is really going to answer a lot of questions when it comes to the path. But because it's still kind of getting its act together, that's why there's still a good amount of questions in there right now. So that's what we're seeing. Questions in the path, but intensity, again, we were talking about this at the top of the show. Because the water is so warm and it's in an area of that very low wind shear, that's why the storm is going to be taking off so quickly. So 72, we'll even take it 48 hours from now. So right now, Tropical Storm Melissa, it is Thursday at 3:15 p.m. So we'll take it Friday 3:15, Saturday 3:15. That's when we were really expecting for this storm to pick up significantly. Most models have this as a Category 1 by about Saturday morning. Sunday morning, it's going to really take off, and we could be looking at a Category 3 storm, with which the National Hurricane Center is currently forecasting. and eventually maybe even topping out at a Category 4. Most of the models do kind of have it starting to weaken as it kind of picks up, gets really big, and then uses all of that warm water energy to kind of cool down a little bit. But that's something that we're going to be watching, especially once we head into the start of next week. There's still a lot of questions out there, but right now we are pretty sure that the storm is going to be taking off out there. So back to the spaghetti models a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about that big picture and what our risk could possibly be here in Florida. Here are the spaghetti models. So every red line that you see right here, that is a different interpretation from a model, and this is all of them. GFS, Euro, areas especially with more associated with the AI, we are seeing the possibility of that. And one thing that I want you to notice is that they bring it westward and then kind of bring it up through Jamaica, Cuba. Some bring it much more westward, some bring it just basically directly through Haiti and the Dominican Republic. But one thing that I want you to notice is that for Florida landfall, unless we kind of goes over the Yucatan Peninsula and into the Bay of Campeche up through Florida, there's only 2 models that really bring this storm into a direct landfall into Florida, which is basically like a 1% chance. So it's not looking likely that it's going to be affecting us in Florida, and we'll talk about why in a second. Main threats are going to be for Cuba, Bahamas, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica, of course. So more of the threat chance of what we could be seeing over the next couple of days is this right here. So high chance of Jamaica, southern Cuba, Bahamas, especially around St. Lucia area. That's where we're going to be seeing the possibility of those more higher chance of being directly impacted by this storm. Dominican Republic, Haiti. Once we kind of get to more of the orange range, that's kind of the indirect effects, but still going to be seeing a lot of that rain. For us here in Florida right now, it's a low chance, but still we could be feeling those indirect effects, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think the main reason of why we're going to be seeing us not necessarily feeling those direct effects is a cold front that's making its way down as we take a look towards the weekend, start of next week. So as this strong cold front, again, this is going to most likely drop us into the low 50s at least, or maybe even the upper 40s right around Halloween. This is what's going to really bring in that cooler air and almost act as a barrier. So I think that for the majority, it's going to shield us in a way. But even though we may be most likely in the clear for this storm, as the storm is making its way out up following the East Coast and kind of back out to shore, we're still going to be really feeling very breezy conditions here along the coast, especially if it passes more towards central Cuba, up towards the Bahamas. This is kind of just a sketch that I did. But again, this is going to roughen up our beaches and then create very breezy conditions along our East Coast. So we're not completely out of the clear, but we are going to definitely be feeling indirect effects from this storm as we head through next week. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. So I just want to kind of tie a little bit of a bow on what we were talking about with the tropics. Got a little carried away with on time, but overall, what we're going to continue to monitor is the track of this storm, because if it does start to track a little bit closer to Florida, it's going to be very breezy and those seas are going to be very rough. Taking a look at the last week of October, which is a little bit concerning because, again, we are in king tide season, and especially we are seeing 4 full moons in a row. We had the first one in October, second one's going to be in November, and then we have a super moon for the start of December and January. So that's just a recipe for very, very rough and high surf over basically the first week of every month over the next 3 months, because October already happened. So again, even though we may not be feeling any direct effects from this storm, most likely it is going to be veering out to sea, but we still are going to be feeling those indirect effects as we take a look ahead as we continue to track Melissa. One other thing that I did want to mention is that flooding is going to be a very big part with this storm, as it kind of brushes past areas across Haiti, Dominican Republic. Same thing that we saw with Helene. There is a little bit of a mountain range in southern Haiti, southern Dominican Republic, and as that rain kind of rides up and over the mountains, it gets squeezed out. So we really see the dropping of all of that rain at immense rain totals on one side of the mountains, and then as we take a look towards northern Haiti, northern Dominican Republic, it's pretty much nothing compared to what we see down here. So that's something that we are really going to be watching as we continue to watch Melissa and kind of track Melissa over the next couple of days. So here's the list right now. Andrea all the way down to Melissa. Nestor is the next name on the 2025 name roster. Okay, question of the day again. When do you start to feel a little bit chilly? And at what temperature do you start to feel a little bit of that chill in the air? You think it's kind of time to put on that jacket? We'll take a look at your comments in just a second. But overall, as you are headed out the door tomorrow morning, it is going to be chilly out there. Low 60s as you're starting off your Friday morning, and that's going to continue at least through the next couple of days, slowly starting to warm back up as we take a look at Sunday into Monday. Forecast highs for tomorrow, very comfortable. Very comfortable, so especially with that beautiful sunshine out there. Temperature starting off throughout the low 80s once we hit the heat of the day. So not a bad start to the weekend if you are looking to get an early start to the weekend Friday afternoon. Forecast, really nothing too much to talk about. That cold front bringing in that much cooler air, making things feel pretty chilly through the overnight tonight, and then we are just going to be seeing a couple passing clouds across the region. Taking a look at Friday, same with Saturday. Another cold front going to bring back those rain chances as we take a look at your Monday. So as I pop up our 7-day, we will take a look at a couple of comments as well. One thing that I do want to stress though is we are making strides on Saturday. So Saturday is the Making Strides walk at downtown Orlando near Lake Eola. Come on out. The entire Fox 35 gang is going to be there. Come on down, say hi. We would love to meet you. Here's what that forecast is looking like for Saturday. So come on down, support a great cause, and come meet us. We would love to meet you. Amy's going to be there. I'm going to be there. I believe Jess and Brooks are going to be there as well. And TJ is going to be holding down the fort here. So definitely come on down and say hi. I'm also bringing Honey as well. She's going to be walking with us as we walk to end the fight for breast cancer. All right, folks, let me pop up our 7-day, and then I will also take a look at comments as well while we're here. Also, reminder, because if I don't remind you, I'm going to forget myself. Turning back the clocks is early November 2nd, and I'm working on a graphic right now that kind of shows the sunset times, and it's making me depressed already thinking about it. So here is your forecast for the next 7 days. Let's pop up a couple comments that we can see and take a look at when it starts to feel a little bit on the chilly side for you. Okay, let me just move this down a little bit. There we go. And our comments today. We have a couple good ones, and I'm actually pretty surprised that we have a couple people watching from far and wide today. We have folks watching in from Wisconsin. We have folks watching in from Michigan today, as I'm taking just a quick look through the comments. Holbrook, Massachusetts. Yeah, it's going to be really chilly up there. So here are our comments today. We might have one from yesterday, but here's what we're looking at. So this is a question from our yesterday stream. But Fred is from Ocean City, Maryland, and it's going to be getting down to 39 degrees tonight. That is not chilly, that is just downright cold. And I absolutely agree with that. That is a little bit even too chilly for me, and I've only been living in Florida for about a year and change now, and I think that is just chilly. Lisa watching, doesn't say where she's watching from, but she's lived in Utah 6 years ago, and you would say that 40 and 50 is when it starts to get a little bit chilly. I'd agree with that. I'd say if, especially here in Florida, we get the intense heat from the humidity, so I think once we lose the humidity and lose the sunshine, I think is when we start to kind of feel a little bit on the cooler end once we hit the low 60s and 50s. Elizabeth writing in, Laurel, I'm from Boston as well. Hey, let me know where you're from. If you're, Elizabeth, you're still writing in the comments. When temperatures inside the house, 73 is too chilly. I actually like 73 in the house. That's actually pretty comfortable for me. And Elizabeth, you say that you start to feel chilly outside in the 50s. That I do agree with. 73 in the house is, I'd say, comfortable. I try to keep the house between 73 and 76 personally. All right, Pally watching in from the UK. Welcome in from the UK. Glad you are watching. And I'm trying to find your comment here. You're from the UK, specifically Leeds. 60 is pretty warm over here. That is crazy, because especially once we have 60 and when it's really humid out there, yes, it definitely is feeling very hot for sure. And I think the humidity just kind of adds that extra layer of warm out there for us here in Florida. But that's so interesting of how kind of people, especially as I'm a Florida transplant for sure, how kind of people think chilly is very different, because I was asking people in the newsroom today, and somebody said that 70 is chilly, and some people said 40 and 30s are chilly. So it is definitely an interesting question, and I'd love to hear all opinions from that as well. Making one last check on Facebook and one last check on YouTube. If anyone ever has any plans, especially tomorrow, reason why we love this show so much is because we get to ask you your plans and make you a personalized forecast. So if you do have any plans tomorrow, join in on the stream from 3 to 3:30 p.m. Write your plans in the comments and we will give you a personalized forecast. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Be there, be square. Have a good one.